Parv, welcome to the program. I want to start by talking about being named one of the 500 Gen Zers in the 2025 Carnegie Young Leaders program. What does that mean to you personally, and how do you see this recognition shaping the future of the Nasser project?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the Fulcrum. I'm very grateful to be named one of the 500 Gen Zers in the 2025 Carnegie Young Leaders program. And I believe it's a great opportunity. I think the program has given me a lot of motivation to start initiatives in other areas and just develop the Nasir project. It's led me to consider going into the nonprofit sector in the future and see how I can become a change maker in my community and create long-lasting change that not only impacts my community but also extends my impact beyond my community and impacts my city, state, or even the nation. Um, Carnegie Young Leaders has given me a lot of resources to really build and develop the Nasir project that range from a personal coach with one-on-one coaching to a network of like-minded people to help support any challenges I face while developing this project. And I think it really boosts the efficiency of the project. I think if I were starting out Nasir by myself and without the help of CYL, I would have faced many challenges that I wouldn't have known how to solve. But with the help of CYL, I can really 10x my impact and avoid these challenges. I think it's a very great opportunity and it's a very inspirational opportunity.
Let's talk a little bit about the Nasser project. What inspired you to launch Nasser, and how do you envision its work on AI and deepfake education shaping civic preparedness in schools and communities over the next few years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I was inspired to launch this year when I saw AI being used for political campaigning in the 2024 election with Ron DeSantis. He was doctoring images of Trump and Dr. Fauci kissing, and I thought that wasn't comedic. I thought that wasn't funny and it wasn't right. Um, so, um, And this combined with the release of ChatGPT, and in my opinion, communication is the foundation of democracy. Um, if that pillar is damaged, then I think democracy can't exist. And everyone was using ChatGPT, and it was very popular. But throughout that, I saw that AI could be misused, just like how Ron DeSantis used AI to doctor images, um, and these issues they range from politics to like financial crime. And that's when I realized that education was the only way to solve this problem. And we could go about it in two ways, education or policy. But what I saw from working with like-minded individuals who were advocates for students' rights or just improving high school students' life is that policy took a very, very long time. But time in this case wasn't on our side because AI was developing at rates very, very quickly. And models were coming out very, very quickly. I think since ChatGPT has released, there have been a ton of models released and a ton of developments made in that tech sphere. Um, and that's when I saw that's when I realized that we must advocate, we must fight, and education is the best way to do this. Like um, if we weren't able to do this through policy, education was the better way of doing this. That's when I saw that I could run workshops to help educate how AI could harm people and how they could stay safe against this, but also how they could use AI to their benefit. So they could use AI to improve productivity, but then AI could also lead AI or deepfakes could also be used to spread misinformation. And I knew I had to like teach this because there are good things and bad things to any single thing. If you look at our phone, it's good for communication. It's very good for communication, but it's very bad because it can also lead to a lot of distractions. So it's essential for people to know both sides of the story. Um, as for the question on how we see how we are going to shape civic preparedness in schools and communities over the next few years, currently Nasir is working on building curriculum that is tailored to our goal of making sure that people are aware of both sides of this very, very new tool, very, very influential tool. And we're making sure that we are ready to start our community workshops by January. But long term, we want to make sure that every young person is informed on what AI really is and how deepfakes really work, as well as in the next 5 years, we want to make sure that every young person in Washington knows what AI really is. And that doesn't really mean that it's just prompting ChatGPT. It means how your data is being used in there, what data you give to that AI, and how they can really use that data that they provide to AI and how they can use AI to their benefit. Besides that, we want to make sure that young people can figure out a way to tell when a politician is using AI to stay informed. I think this will make them more civically engaged, more civically aware of what's happening, because politics is ruthless. It's people will abuse politics, people will use politics for good. And it's essential that the people who are affected by politics know what's really happening. So we're trying to make sure that every student, every person in Washington in the next 5 years knows what's happening in with AI and politics, as well as how AI can be used to their benefit and the harms of AI.
It's really about the user and how they use the tool. And in the example that you gave, manipulate the tool that might be, sort of lipstick on a pig, um, be presented as something that's satirical or comedic, but for some people, that's real, and they can't distinguish the difference between something that's satirical and something that is real. I also think something that resonated with me was it's not just good enough to inform, but you have to educate people, in this case, about AI. And in educating them, that's when you really have an impact because now you're empowering them to make better decisions for themselves. So thank you very much again for that answer. Um, Now, I'd like to learn a little bit about yourself. You've already shared a little bit about the Nacer project. But tell me a little bit about your upbringing, about where you live, where you grew up, who and what inspired you to do not only the Nasser project, but the work that you're leading.
Yeah, so for people familiar with the Washington area, I grew up in Sammamish, but for people who are not familiar with the Washington area or the Seattle area, there's a small suburb outside of Seattle called Sammamish, and that's where I've been since kindergarten. I was in Redmond before that, but that's these two cities are very close. Um, but this area is very close to big tech companies like Microsoft and Amazon, and most of the city most of the residents of these cities are working in those big tech companies. Um, and my dad's involved with tech. Every single day come home from school, we were always talking about tech, AI, all these new things that are happening in this interesting field. So that's just what inspired me to like delve deeper into AI and tech. So I'm just passionate about tech and science in general. Besides that, I'm passionate about politics, and I remember every single election year or the local elections this past year. We were having debates on issues, we were having debates on politics, and it's just been a common dinner topic in my house. And that's when I saw that politics has a lot of influence on our community. It has a lot of influence on our nation, and it has a lot of influence on our people. And that stuck with me, and then just having that civic education in school, with how a bill gets passed into law, how people influence these bills, that resonated with me, and that really led me to think I can make a change. I can help people through politics. But then as I delved deeper into working with advocacy groups, I saw that it took a long time. Um, and that led me to become more passionate about education because I saw that education was influencing people at faster rates than policy. But I've been very passionate about both politics, education, and I just wanted to mesh everything together because I feel like tech just by itself, I feel just by itself isn't as superpowered as everything combined together. Um, as for the question on my inspirations, I think my biggest inspirations are my dad. He always talks about tech. He always talks about problems. He always pushes me to solve issues creatively. And he's just inspired me to think about things in a different way. And then I have another inspiration, and he's my mentor. His name is Lin Yang. He's done a lot of good work around the community here. He started a local newspaper when he saw that there was a lack of information, and that really inspired me to like take initiative. And besides that, like um, when I'm writing for that local newspaper, he's pushed me to pitch ideas for stories and really follow through on my ideas. And that just translated into like this initiative and just what I like doing now. So those are a couple of my inspirations.
That's wonderful. And I think you have a very strong foundation that is clearly serving you very well now. And in turn, you will be an inspiration, and probably already are, an inspiration for others to continue to the type of work that you're doing in that intersection of technology and civic engagement. Parv Mehta, founder of the Nasser Project and one of the 500 Gen Zers named 2025 Carnegie Young Leaders for Civic Preparedness. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck with your project.
Thank you for having me on the program.